Hey guys, this is Mitch with FinePoint CGI, and today we're going to talk about how to export from Unity into Godot. So we're going to go through the process of downloading the 3D game kit from the Unity Assets store. We're going to import that. We're going to be using a tool called Unity GLTF exporter to export those assets out. We're going to talk about some of the caveats where it doesn't necessarily export out all of the animations or all of the textures. So that's stuff that we're going to need to be aware of. We also talk about how to convert textures from TIFF format over to PNG format. And finally, we import a scene from Unity into Godot, and we talk about some of the caveats that go with that. So that's what I have in store for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to install our project that we're going to be exporting. So in my case, I'm going to be exporting the 3D game kit created by the Unity team here. And this does work with any project that's in existence, but in my case, I'm going to use the 3D game kit. So what we'll do is we'll click on open in Unity, just like that, and it will pop up our package manager here, and it will start downloading it for us. Now, in my case, I already have it downloaded, so I'm just going to click import, and I'm going to click import. And that will import this into Unity. Now, this is going to take a while, so I will be right back. Now, when this comes up, let's click next and click import. And now it's going to go and copy all of our files and set up our project. Next, we'll click OK, and we will allow this to import all of our objects. So again, this is going to take a long time. So go get yourself a cup of coffee, and I will see you guys in probably 15 minutes. All right, next, let's close this package manager here, and it's going to import some more stuff because Unity likes to import a lot of things. And if we open up scenes and we open up gameplay level 1, you will see that we have a bunch of assets that are in this little scene here. You can see all of the really cool assets that this scene has here. And one of the things that we are going to have to figure out is how we're going to pull all this data out. Now, there is two ways to approach this situation. We can either right click and go to show and explorer and go back to assets, 3D game kit, art, and then models, characters, and then let's say Chomper, and you'll see that there's an FBX file here. So we could pull the FBX files and just bring them into Godot, and that will work. It will actually allow us to pull all that data. But if you do that, you will need to manually hook up all of your materials. And to do that, you would need to come in here and go into your textures and go into characters, Chomper, and you'll see that there is a bunch of textures here. Now, these are all TIFF files, and we would need to migrate those TIFF files and convert them to JPEG files or PNG files because Godot doesn't support TIFF files. So instead of doing all of that extra work, let's use an add-on that does a lot of this for us. And that's where the add-on by Prefrontal Cortex here called Unity GLTF comes in. So what this add-on does is it allows us to export out scenes and single objects as GLTF. So we could just pull a prefab and say, I want this prefab, and bring it into Godot directly. So what we can do is we can come to the installation section. We can copy this little URL right here, and let's tab back into Unity, come up to our window, package manager, click on the little plus icon, add package to get URL, and let's paste that in and click add. And what it's going to do is it's going to download that add-on directly into Unity. Now, Once this is done, it's going to ask us if we want to allow some automatic linking to happen. So we're going to go ahead and click yes as soon as it pops up, or it's not going to pop up this time. I guess it just depends on how Unity feels. And we'll close this now that we have it imported. If we want to export a single item, we can just go to our 3D game kit and go find our prefab and right click it and export it. So if we go to prefabs, go to characters, go to enemies, and go to Chomper, you'll see that we have two different prefabs. Now we don't want the ragdoll, we'll want the regular Chomper prefab. And if we right click it and go Unity GLTF, then export selected as GLTF, we can choose a location to export this out. Now, since we don't have a Godot project, let's make that first. So we'll open up Godot. We will click new project and we'll type Unity Export Tutorial 2 because this is my second time recording this. And we'll hit create folder and create and edit. I'm going to go and snap Godot to the proper bounds of the screen. And I'm going to right click on my RES file and open in File Manager. And that's going to give me my file manager location. Now I'm going to click on this, copy my location, go back to Unity, and then click, paste it, enter, and move into my Godot project location. Okay, so I'm in my FinePoint CGI documents, Unity Export 2, and I'm exporting it out to this location. Now I'm going to right click, add in a folder, and I'm going to name that folder art. I'm going to double click it, right click, new folder, and I'm going to say Chomper like that. And then I'm going to open it up and I'm going to select that folder. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to quickly export out that GLTF. So now, if I go into Godot, you will see Godot is going to see that that asset exists and it's going to import that asset. So you'll see if I go into Art Chomper and I double click on Chomper GLTF and I create a new inherited scene, you will see that nothing is there. And the reason why nothing is there is because the offset of Chomper is 118 and 40. So I'm going to set this to 0, 0, 0, and I'm going to change its rotation to 0. And you'll see that we now have an asset that's been textured and imported directly. Now you will notice that there is some slight differences here. If we look at Unity real quick and we go and find a Chomper, actually I can just double click on it, can't I? So I'll just double click it. And if we look at Chomper directly, you'll notice that he is a lot less shiny. You'll also notice that he has a lot more maps to work with as well. So that's kind of a limitation of this method. While it's nice and it exported it properly and gave us a lot of the things that we need, it didn't export out his other maps. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if we want his other maps, we're going to need to go find them directly, in this case, characters Chomper, and bring them over. But we will run into issues with texture compatibility, right? We need to make sure it's PNG format. So we're going to need to do some image conversion here for us to get all of our textures over. So if we right click, show in Explorer, and we take all of these files like so. So if we change our type and then we select all these files, we copy it, and we go to our Godot project, which is right here. And we go into Art, Chomper, and we paste his textures in. You will notice that when we go over to Godot, it doesn't import them. And that's because Godot doesn't support TIFF format. So we will need to use a tool called Image Magic. And Image Magic basically allows us to convert images over to different formats. So to download it, click on download, and I'll zoom in for you guys. So download's right up here. And we'll scroll down and you'll see that there is a Windows binary release. And we're going to download this version right here, 7.1.0 39Q16 HDRI 64. and we'll download that. All right, now that it's downloaded, let's install it. So we'll double click on it and we'll accept our license agreement. We'll hit next. We will take our defaults, next, install, and it should take only a few minutes to install. Now, in my case, I already have it installed, so I'm going to say overwrite, do this for next conflicts. So that way we can just go ahead and take care of that. And we'll click next, and I'll uncheck view index.html. I don't need that, but if you guys want to check it out, you're more than welcome to. Now that we have that installed, what we can do is go out to our Chomper directory, which I have right here, and we can click up here, type cmd, and we can use a tool called Magic. So we type Magic, and Magic has a tool called Morgrify. And what Morgrify does is it allows you to really do a lot of cool stuff. And I'll leave a link in the description below on how to use Morgrify. There's a bunch of different options. You can do stuff like resizing, sharpening, blurring. You can change gamma. You can change background colors. You can blur stuff. You can do some channel adjustments. So it's a really, really flexible, really powerful tool. And we'll type Morgrify dash format, and we will change the format to PNG space asterisk dot TIFF. We'll hit enter, and it's going to convert all of those files over for us. And it should be done already. It's pretty quick. So then we'll come over to Godot, we'll click on it, and you'll see it's going to re-import those assets. And if we come into our Chomper and we find our mesh, which I believe is under skeleton, I think it's under body. It looks like it is under skeleton. It's just at the bottom. So we'll click on body. We'll go to our material, go up to our mesh. We'll come down to our surface, our material, and you'll see that it only brought in our albedo texture. So if we just start dragging in our metallic, so you'll see that we have a metallic smoothness map. So we'll drag that in. We'll do the same thing with our roughness map. So we'll drag in our metallic smoothness map, which is the same thing but opposite. So we might need to make a few adjustments here. And the nice thing about the metallic smoothness map is it's using the alpha channel. So we'll go from red to alpha, and you'll see that we can kind of adjust his smoothness to kind of match with what we're trying to do. And if we come down a little bit more, we have a normal map that we can add, just like this. We have an ambient occlusion map, so we'll bring that in. And we have a transmission map, so we'll enable that. There we go. And you can see that we get a pretty good result once we add in those maps. Now, the reason why we chose to do GLTF export, even though it didn't transfer all the maps, is because if we click on animation player, you will notice that we have all of our animations that he has right here, which is really useful. So you can see that we have a nice run animation for him. We have a walk animation for him. So it's really quite awesome when you use that GLTF exporter because it does a lot of the legwork for you instead of needing to do a bunch of fancy mixing and stuff like that. Now, what if we want to export an entire scene? Well, the easiest way to do that is if we open up Unity and we go back to our big scene here. If we go to our 3D game kit, we go to our scenes, we go to our gameplay, and we find our level, in this case, level 1. If we right click that and we go Unity GLTF and we say export active scene as GLTF, that will export our entire scene as a GLTF object. Now, we may or may not want to do this, and that's up to you guys on if you guys want to, but doing it this way will bulk export out all of those objects. It just won't bulk export out all of the textures. So we're going to need to do that for each individual one. And I'm not going to show you guys, I'm not going to run through all of that and have you guys do all of that. But that's just something to keep in mind is you're going to have to come through and bulk export all of the textures and convert them over to a PNG format. So I'll click export active scene just so I can show you guys how this works. And I'll just drop it in the art folder because there's going to be a lot of stuff here. So we'll let that run through and it's going to take a long time. So I'm going to go get some coffee and I'll be right back. Now that we have this exported, let's go out to Godot and let Godot import all of this. Now, this also will take an extremely long time, so I'm going to go get another cup of coffee. I will be right back. All right, now that Godot is done importing, if we scroll down, you will see, I believe it's under scene or something like that, but you will see, oh, it's under level. If we double click on level and we do a new inherited, you will see we now have the entire level imported from Unity. Now you will notice that there are a bunch of issues. Okay, and this method comes with some costs, right? So we're going to need to come in and really start cleaning up all of these cards, and we're going to need to come in and clean up any of these alpha issues. So for instance, if you click on this and you come into your surface and you click on your material here, you'll need to come in and get rid of use as albedo, and we'll probably need to come in and turn on the transparent flag, and that'll help clean up a little bit of these issues. And you'll need to do the same thing for up here, and you'll notice that a lot of these materials are linked, which is really nice because it makes it a little easier, but it's still going to be a very large manual process for us to get all of this done. You'll notice that objects like this are missing their normal map. You can come in here and take a look at the surface, and you'll see that if we go into metallic, it got the metallic map, it got the roughness map, which is good. We can kind of pull up the roughness because I don't like how it looks. And if we come down here, you'll see that we didn't get our normal map. And I'm pretty sure we probably don't have a normal map for vegetation large. So if we come down here and look, let's see. Yeah, it didn't import our normal maps for it. So we're going to need to go and do that. So that's kind of one of the disadvantages of exporting from Unity to Godot is that if you're not careful, you won't have all of your textures and all of your things to make it look good. But that's at least how you export assets out from Unity to Godot. Now, what if we want to export sounds? Sounds are really easy. If we go back into Unity, we go to Game Kit and we go to our audio section, we can come in here and grab something like interactable, and we can grab something like teleporters, and you'll see that we have a couple teleporter sounds. So if we just right click, show and explore, you will see that they have a couple files that are OOG format. We can basically just import those natively into Godot. So we'll just open up Godot, drag these guys in, and you will see in a second, they should show up. I believe they're called teleporters, so T right here. You can see if we double click on it, you have them right here. So if I hit play, there we go. Simple enough. So using this method, you can export out all of your meshes and all of your files and things like that. Now, you can't export out particle systems. You can't export out C# scripts. You can use C# inside of Godot, but you're going to need to manually transfer all of that code over and make it work with the Godot system, because the Unity system and the Godot system are two totally different engines. So all of your calls are different. So you'll need to walk through line by line and rewrite each part individually. Shaders don't come over. Unity uses, I believe it's GLSL, and Godot uses OpenGL, I believe, format for its language for shaders. So there is a way to migrate those over, and one of these days I'll make a tutorial on that. And you cannot export out things like lights or reflection probes or any of those internal editor things, because unfortunately the format is different. Now, one thing that I would do if it was me is I would, instead of doing all of this with the scene export, I would export out each of my stuff individually, much like we did with the first part with Chomper, and just export out the textures, convert the textures, and then go from there. To me, and hook up all of my textures. To me, that's going to be a bit more work, but you are going to have a lot more flexibility with how things are set up, and you're not going to miss anything. You know, it is nice to be able to just throw out a scene like this from Unity really quickly, but it also comes with a lot of risk of missing something. You know, you have this terrain object, which we're going to have to replace with a Godot terrain. You have like all of these textures here that we're going to need to make sure that we don't miss. So that's just something that we need to make sure that we pay attention to. Now, one thing that we can do is we could come up here, right click our level and click clear inheritance. And if you do that, what it will do is it will clear all the inheritance of all of the objects. Now, this might not seem useful, but from here, you can click on, for instance, like dropship right here. And if you right click on your dropship and you go to save branch as scene, and you can name this dropship.tscn, and you will see that if you save this out, it's going to take that object and it's going to dump it out. And then you can come into your dropship.tscn file, just like this, and you will see that you have your dropship as a object that you can use for your own projects. And you might want to center align everything. So if you just 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and that will basically allow you to have your dropship as a asset like normal. Now, like I said, there are some materials here that probably are not set up correctly 100%. So you'll need to come in and really adjust everything. But what do you guys think? Is exporting from Unity to Godot useful? Is it at all worth our time? Is it ethical to export from one engine to another using their asset store assets? I'm really curious about that, because when we did the Unreal Engine tutorial, a lot of people were bringing up ethical concerns, and some really questioned whether or not it was a good idea to pull assets from someone else's store. Now, you did pay for the assets, or at least most of the assets, so some other people were arguing that it's something that you paid for, so therefore you own it. And it brings up an interesting moral argument, so I'm kind of curious what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. But that is all I have for you guys today. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Hey, if you dislike this video, go ahead and hit that dislike button, because I am here to make content for you guys. This video was a viewer suggested video, so if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to throw it on my Trello board. I have a Nakama WebRTC video that I've been working on for the past few weeks because it's a highly requested tutorial, so I do listen to your guys' requests. And hey, if you have any questions about this or any comments, throw them in the comments below, or you can hit me up on the Discord, links in the description. Anyone there is willing to help you with your issues. So please come on by and let me know if you have any issues. So I'm always willing to help you guys. But that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much again for watching. I will see you all next time. Thanks.